Hello, welcome to part 2 of a video you may or may not have watched part 1 for. This is my Q&A, the adulting edition. Part 1, which editing Beth may or may not remember to put up here, was all about books and content creation. Part 2, which I split because I had so many questions, is about owning a flat, living alone, what I do for a job, and general adulting things. So let's jump in. I asked you guys on Instagram if you had any questions. I have got a lot, and as I said, I broke them down because I thought this would kind of give you a way to see which ones you wanted to watch. So if you want bookish questions and things, there's a video for that. If you want both, great. But you know, generally, hopefully you want adulting ones if you're on this video. So this is going to be adulting, flat, living alone, and working. Fun times. The first question is already not really sitting neatly into either of these genres, but I'm going to put it in this video. This is, where do you shop for clothes? I shop in many different places for clothes. There's places I try not to shop in and try and like edge away from because I know that whenever I get their clothes they don't quite fit me right and therefore makes me feel annoyed. So I tend to get t-shirts and things. I find that New Look have a really good selection of ones that last me quite a long time. I also like getting t-shirts from Urban Outfitters, where this one is from, and I like getting my trousers from Marks and Spencer's. They do really good trousers. Maybe New Look, but New Look's sizing is completely skewed. Like, I can get my size in one pair of trousers and they'll fit me perfectly, and then I get that same size in another pair and they're too tight and I'm like, what are you doing, New Look? Stop this. So maybe New Look, but I'm kind of trying to edge away from them because they are slightly more fast fashion and they don't last quite as long as I would like. Fat Face is a really good place that I like to get my trousers as well. White Stuff are decent too. I don't shop in Weird Fish, but Weird Fish has similar styles to what I like. And I will occasionally just get the odd t-shirt from places that I like online, such as, I'm trying to think of places that I buy t-shirts from. Monkey, is that what it's called? Occasionally, maybe. And I can't think of any other places. I used to go in Topshop. I used to go in, didn't used to buy anything, but Topshop is gone. So yeah, that's pretty much a quick whistle-stop tour of my wardrobe. I genuinely recommend Marks and Spencer's for trousers. They are so good. They last me forever. They fit me nicely. Also, Marks and Spencer's for underwear, really good. Fit nicely, last me forever. And then yeah, t-shirts just wherever. This is a long-winded answer for an easy question, but I shop in lots of different places. I think Noisy May, is that another brand on ASOS? Yeah, lots of different places basically, but there's a couple of places. How did you get used to living alone? I'm close with my family and have never moved out before. Okay, so first off, I'm very close with my family. It was me and my mum for a very long time, just me and my mum, and then my stepdad came along and then my sister came along when I was 17. There's quite a big age gap between us, so it's kind of quickly become a little family of 4, and I was very close with them and still am. So for me, moving out was like this huge thing of, oh my god, this is going to be me completely independent. However, I did do that when I was at university, but just not in quite the same way, because obviously when you're at uni, you're moving out with a load of other people who are also doing the same thing, and you're kind of all being thrown into the same boat, especially if you're living in halls, which I did in my first year. So I'd kind of done it, but not really. To be honest, it got to a point when I thought I'm never going to feel comfortable. I think that's the biggest thing I would say about like deciding. You're never going to feel 100% like you're ready. It's kind of got to be a push for that final bit. I think you have to want to move out and you have to like be able to envisage it and think that it's something you want to do and obviously be able to afford it. But I didn't reach a point where I was like, I'm fully ready now. I just kind of thought, I need to push myself over the edge here. Like, it's like if you were going to get your ears pierced and it was something that was going to be, you wanted it, but you knew it was something that was going to hurt, you're never actually going to sit there in the chair and be like, I am completely ready for the pain now, because it's pain. I'm not comparing moving out to being painful, but some things you're just never going to be fully ready for, but you just know you will have to do it at some point, and you know, you need to just do it when you're in a position where you're able to. So I found it easier than I thought. I had this really weird image when I was moving out that there would be this moment when everyone would shut the door and they would all go home and it would be me on my own, and they wouldn't be coming back tomorrow to help me unpack or paint or anything. It would just be me waking up, unpacking my last boxes, and that was very strange to me. I've moved a lot. I've moved 14 times, I think. So I'm kind of used to it, but that doesn't make it any less strange when you have to do it like the big one. This was the big one, moving out, especially on my own. There's no one else to rely on with it. it's just me to make me happy and have myself as my own company. So I think I got used to it fairly quickly because I'm okay in my own company. I am an extrovert, so I do rely on other people, and I think especially moving out around lockdown, I moved in here and had my first night like alone here very start of October. So we in England at that point were still able to have people into our homes. So thankfully my friends were able to come round a little bit until then December, I think it was, that everything was then shut down again and we went into tier 4, and that was difficult at that point, but I still have my bubble back at home. So I've always been able to balance it, and I think what I initially thought I would do would go back every few weeks to my home bubble and just kind of ease myself into it, and I think that really helped. So I think if you're looking to move out and you're not quite sure how to get used to it, I think just do it in chunks. You know, move out, have all your stuff here, not in my flat, in your own flat or home, and just, you know, do all of that, have it be your space, and then gradually mentally move yourself out. Like physically you moved out, but it's okay if you go home and you spend a weekend at home every other weekend. You know, you're getting used to it. The world is a very strange place at the moment. It isn't quite the same as if you were to be moving out, not in the middle of a pandemic, because you would be seeing people a lot more regularly and you wouldn't have to worry about who was coming into your home. So yeah, it wasn't an immediate thing. It takes time, be patient with it, but I'm definitely glad I did it, and I think that I just needed that little bit of a push to do it because it was never going to feel comfortable. But now I'm in my own home, I love it, it makes me feel very happy, and I'm very proud of it. I think a lot of these questions as well cover the topic of like the actual element of leaving home, and I think other than like mentally knowing that I wasn't going to be with my family anymore, I think that the biggest thing was probably all the little things that my mum would never default do for me. I know that sounds really stupid, but like when you are ill and you're at home, you really rely on people looking after you. Well, I did. I mean, I know that's not gonna be the case for everyone, but like if I was really ill and I was living back at home, I didn't have to worry about cooking a meal. I didn't have to worry about putting the washing on. Like my mum would help and my mum would make me the food. So if I was absolutely feeling on death's door, I didn't need to worry about that kind of thing, and it wasn't one more thing. Whereas I was ill a couple of months ago here, and I still had to cook my dinner, and I still had to do my washing, and I still had to make sure the flat was clean, and I still had to do all these things in a food shop and stuff. And it was that moment where I was like, ah, that's where it was very strange for me, because it's a real reliance that I didn't really think about. Like I've always been independent, I've always been happy to do things myself or to just go out on a whim and do things on my own. I've always been okay with that. But when you live with other people, there's always going to be that natural tendency that you rely on them for certain things, whether one of you does the hoovering and one of you does the dusting, one of you cooks dinner, one of you does lunch, you know, anything like that. You're always able to lean on other people, whereas suddenly not having that was, I think, something I found strange. And I said to my mum, I don't like that I have to do this on my own at this point when I'm not feeling very well. It was such a nice feeling that I didn't even appreciate, just being able to not have to cook myself dinner when I'm feeling really ill. So that sounds really probably really weedy, is like that's the kind of thing I'm picking out, but honestly that was a huge thing that I noticed about moving away from my family. You have to do everything yourself. No one is going to do anything. If you leave that bowl on the side, there is no chance that it's going to be washed up unless you wash it up. You cook your whole dinner, you eat your dinner, then you clean up from your dinner. Nobody else is going to help you unless you're living with someone else, in which case ignore all of that, you're sorted. But this is the element of leaving home and leaving my family on my own, I think has definitely been a learning curve that I have enjoyed. And as I said, I went to uni, I cooked, I washed, I cleaned. I have been doing that at my home as well after uni when I was still living at home. But yeah, the fact that you've got no one to rely on was the biggest, like, oh, okay. What is your full-time occupation? So I have 2 full-time jobs, but one of them you probably could already guess because it is this stuff here. For a long time I felt awkward or weird about calling this a full-time job because I said it a couple of times and people actually told me it wasn't a job to my face, and I'm like, oh, okay. But I spend so many hours on this, and I have to log those hours because then when I go to fill out my tax in England, I have to say how many hours I'm spending doing this job. So I spend a full-time job doing Booksnest across so many platforms. Like, it's not just YouTube, I do Instagram, I have a blog, Twitter, I do Patreon stuff, so I create a podcast for my Patreons and do a book club and stuff. There is so much that this is a full-time job for me, but this question is probably asking me about my like 9 till 5 job, or 8:30 till 4:30 job in my case. So I am a social media manager at a digital marketing agency. So what that basically means is that I work with clients and our in-house team to create calendars, organic social media calendars for their needs. So there's a range of, mainly my biggest client is business to business, B2B, so it's very much targeting other businesses and professionals, whereas I also do the social media for our company and things like that. So that involves writing organic social media posts, creating campaigns, so hashtag campaigns and things like that, also making videos, which is using my degree because I did a degree in film production, so I like that aspect of it because I get to make promotional videos and do animations and things. Also making graphics, making PDFs, white papers, doing design files, all sorts of stuff. I actually prefer doing the design stuff than I do the writing, which is probably worrying given that I am in the writing end of it. But this job, I fell into this career path when I left university. So I left uni, and 2 days after literally moving my stuff out of my house, I started a job in a digital marketing agency doing very lower level version of what I'm doing now, kind of. It was very copy and pasty, it was very admin-y, and it was not sold to me like that. It was sold as highly creative, very big opportunities, and in fact it was in a woman's log cabin in her garden that was her office, which was nice, but very small, very isolated, and all the staff were incredibly ageist towards me. I got very irritated, having just graduated from a film production degree, that they were all talking about films at one point, and they said, oh, you wouldn't know what we're talking about because it was made before you were born. And I'm like, oh yes, sorry, I forgot. It's not possible for me to have watched or listened to anything that was produced before the year of my birth. And they were just like, there was lots of things that I just didn't get on with that company. And I actually only lasted about 2 or 3 months there because it gave me such a horrible feeling to go in. I just couldn't do it. So when I left that job, sorry, you're getting a career history now. When I left that job, it was the first time since I was 14 that I left a job without having another job to go to. I've always been working. My first job was as a party host for children, which was just a lot. I've always had a job, and I didn't have one at this point, so that was great. I mean, even through uni, I worked at an Apple shop, Apple reseller, when I wasn't in university, when I wasn't during term time. And then during term time, I worked at the IT help desk at my university, which was great. And then, yeah, I just quit this job and didn't have anything to go to. I thought I'd start up a photography business. That didn't work. Then I worked at WATERSTONES for about 7 or 8 months, and then I got a job at the air ambulance in my local area there, and I did their social media for 2 years and loved it. I was digital marketing coordinator there. And then I jumped into my current role. Well, I was promoted from what I entered my company at. So I think I entered my company as content and oh god, what was it? Content and social media exec or something like that. I don't even know what the title was. But now I'm social media manager. I have all the power. I don't, but that's my job history. If anyone else is interested in getting into that kind of field, I basically used Booksnest as a portfolio and said that, you know, I'd curated X amount of followers. This is what I'm interested in doing. This is what I've done before. And also when I worked at WATERSTONES, I ran their social media for them as well. So I had that as like something behind me. And in my degree, we did a couple of modules on content and marketing. So generally it all helped, but I feel like my role now, because of the video stuff, is where I've most used my degree. Saying that, when I worked at the air ambulance, I did make promotional videos for them as well. So I loved that job. That was really great. I like what I'm doing now, but yeah, that's my career path history thing. One day, maybe I'll be full-time Booksnest. That would be amazing. That, like, oh, that would be absolutely the dream for me. I would love that. I'm not necessarily an office job based person, which is why I like being able to work from home. I don't do well with the same environment every day, so when I work from home I can work in different locations. My brain is very active, it's very creative. I will one day use that side of it a bit more, but at the moment this is where I'm at, and I'm enjoying it, and I'm growing my knowledge a lot, and I'm becoming a professional in my industry. So yeah, I don't know. My path is either going to be continuing in this direction and just kind of working my way up to like my dream role within this industry, which would probably be something book related or something really highly creative or media related, something like that, or Booksnest full-time, which is why I've got things like my Patreon and ad revenue and things, because those will help me get more permanent income for my content, which is how I will be able to judge whether I could do that or not. So thank you so much if you're anyone watching this as part of my Patreon, because that's kind of how I'm going to be able to do that. Anyway, that's all of that. Next question. How do you balance your work, life and content creation? How do you stay so organised? For me, it's about writing it down and knowing exactly what I have going out when. I do quite a lot of branded promotions within my Instagram specifically, and for that I use a piece of software called ClickUp, which I think I paid about £30 for an annual membership, and I can enter, I created my own custom like list thing there. I can enter who I'm working with, their contact details, what I'm doing for the promotion, when, what stage I'm at with it, like if I'm waiting for an item to arrive or if I'm waiting for approval, anything like that, how much I'm charging, have I sent an invoice, have I sent analytics, any hashtags and things like that. It's all in there. So I know that anything that I have committed to doing is in there and I'm never going to miss it. And then everything else is written in my diary and my calendar, and I've just got everything spaced out so I know exactly what I have going out and when, so I'm never going to forget it, which is the important thing for me, that I just don't want to ever forget anything. So I write everything down. That's how I stay organised. I do to-do lists, because basically in my head, as long as I can empty everything from my brain onto a page, that's fine for me, because then I know if everything on that page is ticked off and done, I'm done and I can chill. But balancing it all can be tricky. That's why I work 8:30, 4:30. When I started my job, it was 9 till 5:30, and I asked to have reduced, well, not reduced hours, because I still work the same amount of time as everyone else. I just have a half an hour lunch instead of an hour. But I asked to have those hours changed within my contract when I started, when I interviewed, because I needed the evenings to be able to be freer as free as possible to be able to work on Booksnest stuff. So I just basically balanced that out. When I was in the office, I was getting up an hour early at 6, working for an hour until 7, and then getting ready to go to my actual job. So it's all about just finding that time and aligning it, but also the to-do list is a big thing, because as I said, once it's ticked off the to-do list, I know I am free. So that's when I can then involve like other things such as reading and things like that, and fun life stuff. Oh, I think I missed this one when I was doing the content creation one, so I'll pop it in here quickly. What is my age and when did I start this page? So what age was I when I started the page, I guess? So I'm 25, I'll be 26 in July. I started this page in 2016 when I was just leaving university. I think I was 20 at the time. I don't think I'd hit 21 at that point. So I've been running this for 5 to 6 years, and it's grown much more in the last 2 years, I would say. It was definitely a waiting game, but yeah, it was my little post-university baby. I like this question. If you won the lottery, would you keep working for fun? If so, in what job? No. No, I wouldn't. I would do Booksnest. That would be what I would do. So yes, in that sense, but that would be working for myself. I wouldn't want to be worked by anyone else. No. I wouldn't want to be under anyone else's job. I would want to just pick what I did when. I wouldn't like get a Saturday job or anything like that, unless it was volunteering somewhere for somewhere I felt passionate about. But honestly, if I won the lottery, I would probably travel and do some amazing things in other countries and be able to get involved in charities and things to help abroad in ways that cost money. A lot of those kind of things where you do conservations and helping, you have to pay to do, and they're quite expensive. So I would probably spend maybe a year dotting about and doing all those kind of things, and maybe then come back and see what was going to happen then. But oh my god, if I won the lottery, oh, that would be amazing. I do like what I do, and I do appreciate having my stable job and that kind of routine in my life. But yeah, if I'm going to be a millionaire, I don't think I could do it. I just don't think I could give myself the motivation, because ultimately we work to get an income and to give ourselves that purpose. Like the purpose for me is to get an income, whereas if I was insanely wealthy and had won the lottery, I wouldn't need that in the same way, so it would just be there to kind of fill my days, whereas I've got Booksnest to do that. So I don't know. I mean, maybe I changed my mind at the time, but I'm sorry, work, if you're watching this, which I don't think you will be. But yeah, if I won the lottery. How to make friends as an adult, like new friends outside of work, uni and school friends. I think this is really difficult to actually do, because everyone has their friendship groups and it's kind of like you feel like you're trying to insert yourself in somewhere. But I think the bolder that you can be and the more confident to just talk to random people in a relevant situation is going to get you further. I am trying to befriend the people that work in my local WATERSTONES, and I know their names. I chat with them every time I go in. I'm getting there. So I think just be confident enough to just have like a couple of seconds of courage to just say, oh, hey, I really like your bag, or something like that. And then just chat to somebody and just have that conversation and try and form something there. I think I have a lot of friends in lots of different areas and not as many in my local area. I think I've got about 3 or 4 friends that live near me. So well, no more than that. 5 or 6. So I'm trying to expand that out a little bit and just grow that circle so that I've got more people around me. So I'm working on it too, but I think just try and be as confident as you can and just be bold and introduce yourself to people. Fave university memories. I would just go and do the whole of university again on repeat. I loved it, I loved it. I think first year was unlike anything I'd ever experienced because I lived in halls. I had a massive group of friends. The boyfriend I had at the time, his whole halls, we were really good friends with all of them. So I would spend a lot of time in their flats and just chilling with them. We went to parties, we hosted parties, we went to all of the uni nights out and just had so much fun. So much fun. Favorite memories are probably going to the night out. That we went to one called Detention that was our like alternative night out. So there was Bop that was on a Wednesday, and Bop was like you dress up in silly outfits and it was really cheesy music and also like charts music. And then Detention was more the alternative pop punk / rocky music versus the chart toppers. We went to Detention, which was every other Monday, and I loved it so much. It was so much fun. I think just making loads of friends and meeting new people at university, I light up when I talk about it, but it also makes me really sad because that is a chapter of my life I'm never going to get back, and I just look back on it. But I absolutely bloody loved it. I mean, studying the course, the film production degree, was great as well, but ultimately I didn't just go to uni for that. I went to uni for the experience and to meet people and to find out who I was. So yeah, I think that was definitely helped by being in a really great friendship group and in a really good relationship as well, where we could better each other and make new friends together and stuff. That was really nice. So yeah, it was a really great experience. 3 years of my life that I will always treasure and will go back to in a heartbeat, even though I've grown a lot since then and I've changed a lot and I've become much more of a me as my person. Like, you know, I was always me, but I think when you go between like 22 and 23, 24, you do a lot of growing because you've just come out of university if you went, and you've just entered into the world of work and you're kind of establishing who you're going to be as an adult. And I think I went through my biggest changes then. So yeah, it was great. I loved it. Okay, final question. How is living alone going? Do you have any advice for someone who may live alone at some stage? So I've kind of tapped on this already by saying about moving out and stuff, but the actual element of living alone is going well for me because I enjoy my own company. I enjoy not having to rely on anyone else or worry about other people. It's just me here. As I said, there's things that aren't so great about that in terms of the fact that there is no one else to rely on if you're not feeling great or if you just want some help with something. But ultimately, I can do whatever I want with my time, and I haven't had that for a very long time. Yeah, all my friends have partners and things, so there is a slight bit there where I'm like, because I am single, I do not have a partner, and they all do, and they're all getting married and having babies and stuff. So in that sense, it does get me a little bit like, But then I feel very confident being single. I feel very strong and independent, and I'm not relying on anyone. No one else controls my happiness. Obviously other people can contribute towards it, and I would be absolutely fine if I had a partner at some point, but I'm also okay that I don't. So yeah, living alone, it can be lonely. It certainly can be. There are times when I see my friends with their partners prepping their weddings, having their babies, and I'm like, I am really enjoying my binge watch of this TV show. But I'm okay with that because also everyone's at different life stages, and I couldn't have moved out if I didn't move out alone. I was kind of waiting. So I was in a relationship that ended in 2019, at the start of 2019. And that was a 5-year relationship, and I thought that was going to be it for me. I thought that was going to be the person I ended up with, and I thought we were going to move out within the year. And then that ended. So I kind of had to be like, oh, because it's expensive to move out. I have done shared ownership, which is when you part own and part rent. So I own 40% of my property and I rent 60%, but essentially you are on the housing ladder, it's cheaper, you don't have to pay a massive deposit, you only have to pay 5%, which is much smaller than what you could have to pay if you didn't do that. Like as a single occupant, it was the only way I could do it. And honestly, this is mine, this is my flat. I can do whatever I want to it. I can make any changes. I cannot be kicked out. It is my home. It's just that I also pay a bit of rent on it to make it affordable for me because I'm one salary, and typically you can only borrow around 4 times your salary. So that wouldn't have left me with too much options with where I want to live, because where I live is about 40 minutes outside of London. I live right by the town centre of my town. There's a good rail line that connects to various different cities, decent amount of shops. Like, it's not the cheapest place to live. So yeah, it was kind of the way I had to do it. But I don't really know what my initial point was now saying shared ownership and I was going to say that it was a shock to my system to have to do it on my own because I didn't think I would, and it took me 2 years to be like, no, you can do it. Because for about a year I was kind of waiting to find someone else that one day I could do it with, and I thought, I don't want to rely on someone for that. I want to do this myself. I want to empower myself and buy my home and have it be mine. No one else gets to control the bright yellow wall that I'm looking at right now. No one gets to pick the cabinet colours I have in my kitchen. So living alone is going great. There are definitely lonely times, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. There are definitely times when I wish there was someone else here with me, but it's great. I love it. I feel incredibly empowered. I feel incredibly strong and confident and incredibly proud of myself that at 25, I have this beautiful flat that I have renovated in certain places that I will give you a flat tour of, and it's just mine. This is my space and I love it. So yeah, what a nice note to end the video on. I hope this has been one you guys have enjoyed. We have talked about lots of adulting things. Hopefully, yeah, you've learned some things. If I've been able to help at all, always feel free to reach out to me and ask me any questions. You can find my social media links all down below as well if you wanted to chat over DMs there as well. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, please do give it a thumbs up, comment anything you like down below, and subscribe to see more of my face on your feed. As I mentioned in the video, I do have a Patreon, which you can find linked down below as well, and that is where I post podcasts, I post behind the scenes content, there's a Discord chat, there's a book club, there is all sorts of different things. There's social media audits if you want to go for a little bit more of a high professional tier, where I give you professional social media audits and advice to help you improve your channel or page, account thing, Instagram, whatever. But yeah, that's all linked down below as well. So thank you guys so much for watching. Keep smiling and stay positive.